Hello there, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Story Divers, where we share stories, chapter by chapter, or a few chapters at one go. Today, we're going to talk about Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is a very old book, and we studied it in the last Story Diver session. Today, we are going to cover chapters 4, 5, and 6. Previously, we've covered the first 3 chapters. We wanted to cover a little bit more so that, we can bring in the insights in summary. But what we realized is that each of the chapters have so much nuggets of wisdom in there that you realize that it's not so meaningful to actually skip them, but to actually talk about it, discuss about it to get better understanding, so that it makes the whole session very valuable to us, and we have meaningful takeaways that will allows us to actually give further thoughts to what we actually read and what we actually understood from the first reading especially. Now, in one of the chapters, the writer, which is Napoleon Hill himself, suggested that if you read for the first time, you don't really understand what is actually being shared in that chapter, or you don't fully grasp the idea that's being introduced, is fine, because what he suggested is that we should actually read this book
Hang on,
3
can you shift your screen from the TikTok a bit higher, please? Because now it's a bit low.
Okay, so it is about is it higher now? So it is about
You can't see
reading
from
it.
your screen, is it?
No. So he actually shared that you should actually read about, or he suggested that we should actually read like 3 times before we are able to really appreciate and continue reading it with appreciation, with delight, with so much insights that will come out and flow easily as we read them. All right. So today, let's start with chapter 4, which is specialized knowledge. Now, specialized knowledge is the 4th step to riches out of the 13 that he actually shared, and he actually outlined as important to actually acquire this thing called think and grow rich mindset. Okay, so specialized knowledge. Okay, it's a personal experiences or observations. Is the 4th step to riches through specialized knowledge. So you mentioned here there are 2 kinds of knowledge. One is general, one is specialized. Now, before I go into the definition, Gerald, what's your thoughts on this?
Specialized knowledge.
Specialized knowledge and general knowledge. As you read this entire chapter, what's your takeaway like?
Specialized knowledge is a very specific type of knowledge that's meant for applied action, I feel.
Apply action. Okay.
A knowledge that can be used. General is something that is good to know for your reference, FYI.
Okay, to me, right, after I've read this entire chapter, my summary is that knowledge can be acquired. Okay, knowledge can be acquired through many means. The one that he actually explained exponentially in this chapter, it's about the acquired knowledge from the structured system, which is the educational system. But the educational system, he urged for it to actually apply the practical and the application of the knowledge itself, because knowledge is just knowledge, right? It is, the word he used here is that knowledge is, wait, let me see, where is it? Okay, never mind. Knowledge is just, like in my own words, it's a power, but it's not a superpower. And knowledge is nothing, merely anything important. except for its general application for us to actually understand a lot of things. But specialized knowledge is what we apply a plan where we have a definite and where we actually take actions. We have a plan and the actions to plow out, to carry out the in execution with the specialized knowledge that we have. And this specialized knowledge is targeted knowledge in the field of our expertise and in what we want to do in accumulation of wealth. Right? So the definition here is that knowledge or specialized knowledge, okay, is, hang on, I just suddenly lost it. Okay. Do you have that? Okay. Specialized knowledge is of the service, merchandise, and profession on which you intend to offer in return for the fortune. It means your specialization, your knowledge, your know-how, something that uniquely you, that you know in specific, that this is the specialized knowledge that you have, that you can actually turn it into a service or turn a product into something that provides values to others, thus turning it into fortune. Okay? Because knowledge itself will not attract any money unless it is organized and intelligently directed through practical plans and action. Okay? This only comes about when you know how to use this knowledge and identify the specialized knowledge therein to help you execute the plan and actions so that you can acquire the type of wealth that you want. All right. What's your thoughts?
I highlighted the paragraph on the first page of the chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Most professors have not amassed great wealth because they
Okay.
specialize in teaching knowledge, but they do not specialize in the organization or the use of knowledge for the accumulation of money.
Yep. Okay.
Knowledge will not attract money or any other kind of success unless it is organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action.
Okay.
I don't know why they specifically, or rather why he picked out the specific role of a professor, because
Mm.
in that sense, they actually have decided to apply their knowledge in just teaching it, right? Just that they will not get anywhere richer lah.
What he meant here is that the professors only teaches concepts and teaches the knowledge and the theory behind it, but may not necessarily have the practical experiences by putting a plan and action and apply this special knowledge in it. They know the theory, but they don't have the practical experiences, and they didn't actually put it into action. What they know with a plan, with a structure, the practical plans and action to actually accumulate the money. They just deliver the content of the knowledge, the theory part. Sometimes we say, sometimes how come the lecturer cannot actually deliver the real case study, the application of it? Simple, because they don't have the practical experience. They didn't go through what they actually thought or the concepts that they actually thought in businesses, for example. So that's why there's this thing called a adjunct lecturer that will come in and they will substitute that with case studies, their experiences, and share the concept or share the theory that the students are actually learning. So a lot of times, if you notice, there will be a lot of special lectures or town hall meetings and all that where they invite people in their expert industry to come and give talk, to come and share knowledge, so that they understand the specific uh, application of why certain things work certain way and why the theory is actually being taught in this manner and which area of the theory is practical enough for one to actually emphasize in so that they can actually use that to plan out their actions, to plan out a structure or a process towards the application of what they want to deliver. And usually that is the value that they want to bring to the people who will be using the services or the products that they actually provide. And thus, the accumulation of wealth comes from there.
Then isn't this applicable to a lot of other professions who did not actually have the experience but just working
Yes,
for
it does. It
other
does.
organizations who just tell them to follow by whatever they have provided?
Mm. That's why it's very crucial that when we want to actually learn something, we want something that allows us to apply the practicality of it. Because only through the application of practicality, we will understand what is it that in us, in resonance to what is it that we want to provide, allows for the expression of us, which have the creativity and the imagination from us that plow in through the desire and ideas that we have that we will actually discuss in chapter 5. So, right now, in chapter 4, as we talk about specialized knowledge, okay, he talks about education. Okay, he explains about education and he actually quoted Henry Ford. Henry Ford in during the Depression, the Great Depression time, he was actually labeled, all right, he was actually labeled to be wait, let me see. He was actually labeled to be somebody who do not know what is it that he is talking about and what's the word. They actually claim, in other words, that he's not educated. But what Napoleon Hill actually explained here is that the word educate is derived from the Latin word called educo, meaning to educe, to draw out, to develop from within. Okay, to be truly educated is to have developed the faculties of mind that one may acquire anything one wishes or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. Okay, yeah, I found it. Because during the Great Depression, the Chicago newspaper published an editorial to say that, Henry Ford is an ignorant pacifist. Is an ignorant pacifist means that he doesn't know what he's talking about and he actually talked too much. And because he objected the statement, he brought the people to suit court, and then they actually argue about it. And during the argument, after being questioned questions that talks a lot about very theoretical, very historical content. For example, the question they ask is that you know, who was Benedict Arnold? How many soldiers did the British send over to America to put down the rebellion of 1776? Now, a professor can explain this. A professor in the specific field that studies and lecture on this can definitely answer this very easily. But his argument was that I do not know the exact number of soldiers the British sent over, but I've heard it was considerably larger number that ever went back. Okay, so he is able to bring out and he's able to have the resonance to help him decide how he is going to approach things when he zoom into the specific knowledge, to the specialized knowledge. He actually zoom into the specialized knowledge that his team has. Okay, and he called this team the power team, and this power team actually will be able to answer that. All right, because specialized knowledge needs specialized or specialization in terms of knowledge, wisdom, and also the execution role and bit where someone knows the 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 content. Okay, someone knows that topic very very well and so specialized that they are the one who can actually go into a think tank and go into the minute specific uh, details of that specific context that they are actually talking about. All right, so if let's say this question, I think he will be talking about he will probably refer to somebody who is specialized in history, who is specialized in war, studies of war, and all that. So where I'm trying to actually angle this is that specialized knowledge is like in this era. It's a specialized knowledge of service, merchandise, or profession in which you intend to offer in return for fortune. So the niche and how you zoom into the knowledge you require specific to offering the products or services that you wish to offer in return for fortune is the specialized knowledge. Yeah. What's your thoughts, Jar?
Actually, when I read this, right, it also gave me the, or rather, it didn't give me any insights, but it's more of it's very applicable of what's happening, or rather, it's very real on what's happening nowadays because people are just studying for the sake of studying without actually being even good at what they are doing.
I think not all lah, but
Most,
unfortunately,
like the
because
typical way of how people go for higher education and then ended up not working in the field.
He actually mentioned something. Let me see. He actually mentioned that sometimes probably schools can actually think about for if let's say they go to college and take up a subject, first second year they can actually dwell into the lecture, the entire structure and programs and curriculum of what they actually study. But after the third year, if they have not even decided the direction and they have not been able to have a proper or clarity in how they want to pursue from what they actually study, the school need to actually step in to guide them properly, either to continue or not continue, because the role of a school, it's more on it's a lack of application, it lacks of practicality, in other words, of what one studies. So he actually calls out for more practical role, for more active roles by the school to help practicalize what is being studied in theory form. And to do that is through later on the topics desire, imagination, how to put structure plans and actions into place, which we will discuss later on. Yeah. What else?
Yeah,
What other
so I'm wondering why are the schools are, I mean, actually not doing that fast enough because this book has been out for a long, long time.
well, I
Not that I
think
mean they are obliged to follow any books, but then I guess they are not going to fix what's not broken or until it's broken, right?
For me, I won't conclude anything, but what I like about this chapter is that, in addition to that, as he highlights the issue, he actually brings about the kind of approach one can actually adopt, or what is it an employer or leader can seek from an individuals who has the sort of characteristics to actually join your mastermind team or mastermind group. So he actually explained this in the subtitle, or under the subtitle called "It Pays to Know How to Purchase Knowledge." So if you want to know
Yeah.
what is it that you want to do in life, as you know with clarity what is it that you want to experience in life, what you want to do in life, what you can actually do is that understand what are what is actually needed in terms of knowledge for you to go and pursue that. Okay, so knowing how to purchase knowledge is it's through it is through active action. Okay, so you start by um, deciding the sort of specialized knowledge you require and the purpose for which it is needed. To a large extent, your major purpose in life, the goal to which you are working, will help you determine what knowledge you need. And with this question settled, your next move requires that you acquire accurate information concerning dependable sources of knowledge. Okay, so how you can acquire this specialized knowledge? Your own experience and education, where you are at right now. All right, and the experience and education available through cooperation of others. Who are the people and what they have in terms of experience and education to be your mastermind alliances? the colleges, the universities, the public libraries, or the specialized training courses that you are willing to put your resources, time, energy, money into it, investing into yourself. How much will you go towards purchasing this knowledge for you to actually achieve the major purpose in your life, the goal towards which you are working towards, get the fortune which you want to actually acquire. So he actually shared that.
Mm. Basically, is to know what is it that you want this knowledge for,
Mm.
organize it,
Basically,
put it into use,
mm,
and get the reward through practical plans
mm.
into AAK
Basically
money.
specialize in what you want to um, specialize in through you having clarity and a major purpose of your life and a goal to which you're working towards. So be so specific, be so specialized that you don't spread yourself too thin, but you're so specialized that you know that the acquired knowledge will give you the competitive advantage over others. Because
Mm.
the next subsection of this chapter is called specialists most sought. Because people who specializes in something are the one who is most sought. People who is all over the place are someone that spread themselves too thin that they would most likely lose focus often. So they would want to look for people who are specialists, who are specialized and have specialized knowledge in the area specific to be part of or to be in their mastermind group or be their mastermind alliance.
Mm.
Okay, because he closed this with this paragraph. We are interested primarily in finding people who can make exceptional progress in management work. For this reason, we emphasize qualities of character, intelligence, and personality far more than specific educational background. Okay, so the way you're going to acquire this specialized knowledge, how much you're going to invest in yourself, how much you will go after the knowledge to be specialists in your area defines a lot the quality of characters of who you are, the intelligence, the approach, and how you know or what you know in the specialized area. And it talks about your personality as well. So all this beats the specific educational background that you acquire from the structured uh, school system or educational system, be it colleges, be it universities, be it any institution of formal education.
Mm.
Mm,
He also mentioned that imagination is also the key ingredient for a unique and successful business.
mm, true. Would you like to take on the next um, part where he talked about specialized knowledge plus imagination were the ingredients that went into the unique and successful business solutioning. Because it pays to know
Basically, I'm
how
just going to be like straightforward, saying that he suggested that if you are imaginative enough, how you're going to sell yourself, one way
to.
is to prepare attractive materials for use in marketing
Mhm,
personal services. He emphasized a lot on what you can sell starting from your own personal expertise and skill sets, or the
mm,
specialized value that you're going to exchange for money.
mm,
And then do not be afraid to decorate it. It's to me like repackaging or packaging it enough that is attractive, which is technically what I'm already doing for myself and for the clients that I actually serve. So I'm very glad that nobody actually have the initiative to do such things, not as much, because most of them would think that, like, for example, he actually mentioned about resumes. Nobody actually will take the effort to go and decorate it, but I actually did. Not in terms of a resume, but in terms of a step by step process where I actually stand out to people who are asking how do they get their brand up, for example. And then from the specific delivery and the layout that I can do, they will actually know that there is a difference between typical people who are into the same industry. I mean, I'm not saying for everyone, but I'm pretty sure that not many of them are actually doing to that extent. So that's why he specifically said, like, preparing attractive materials for use in marketing personal services. Ultimately, is learning how to sell yourself well in a way that you will be able to stand out, so that people will want to pay you for what you're selling.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for me, right, what I got from this chapter is that he emphasized on what is specialized knowledge that will actually help you build the plan and structure and processes that you need to put into action to turn values into fortune. And then he talks about how to purchase knowledge, how to acquire this knowledge, so that because the way of success is continuous pursuit of knowledge, and then we need to actually combine, okay, knowledge and imagination. Okay, once we combine knowledge and imagination, we can exercise this thing called ideas. And if we are able to blend in this imagination, it come up with something that is specific. And once it is something that is specific and unique expression, okay, something that is unique from you, you need to have a habit of daily routine to actually put that into action and consistently carry that out. All right, because the thing is that it is either we let the condition control us, especially during challenging time, or we have the desire to actually control this challenging time. Okay, both success and failure are largely the results of habit. So we must have that kind of habit. Okay, then he talks about specialized knowledge. It's much more abundant and much more easily acquired than ideas. It's a slightly more in-depth, and it's the next thing. Okay, capabilities means imagination. The one quality needed to combine specialized knowledge is the ideas. So if you have imagination, you have ideas, okay, with your specialized knowledge, you can actually form, or you can actually put together the organized plans that designed to yield riches towards the fortune, right? So he ends this chapter with anybody can wish for riches, and most people do, but only a few know that a definite plan plus a burning desire for wealth are the only dependable means of accumulating wealth. Yeah, that's the sharing for this chapter. You have additional things to.
No, I think we
Oh,
can
yeah,
move
so
on to the
additional
next
more thing.
chapter.
The only limitation is that which one sets up in one's own mind. There's no limitation. The limitation is that which one set it up in their own mind. So put away this limitation. All right. Maybe you want to take on this chapter. The next chapter is on imagination. Imagination as the workshop of the mind.
Imagination, fifth step to riches. It means that literally this is the output of what we can actually churn out in our mind that is formulated as a plan. The impulse, the desire is given shape, form, and action through the aid of the imaginative faculty of the mind. So, if you can imagine it, basically, you can actually create it.
Mm.
Interestingly, when he said that, right, I think it's easy to like highlight it, but it's also not easy to get the tangible creation out because of the way information is being fed to us nowadays. It's really
Mm.
coming in so much that we have too much clutter, and ultimately there's analysis paralysis. And then in the end, I do see even myself sometimes end up like not doing anything because of fatigue, because of too
Analysis
many
paralysis.
possibilities. You don't know where to get started until you know. As what I mean, of course, everything is linked. Like you need to have a very strong desire and a very strong focus, and sometimes you need to wait for the resources to come in at the right time, and then only then will you be motivated to trigger up your ass or fire up your ass to get moving. So it
Mm.
is also a very crucial part to know that you must know how to manage yourself. It's never a lack of ideas, it's never a lack of information, and education is everywhere. It is so cheap that you can actually obtain a lot of it for free, even from the books. But the thing is, what is the value here is how actually are you putting the action to good use so that your wealth can come in through the need for it. And how do you actually help the solution to be able to be amplified, and that's where the process can get bigger and bigger. So that is that, like my conclusion of how Napoleon Hill is trying to actually distract on how we can actually achieve wealth in the order of how he actually structured the book to be. So imagination, it's also hard to imagine if one is underexposed. If you're not open or not aware that anything possibly remotely like that can happen because you haven't actually experienced it before, how are you going to really imagine it in a way that has a bigger potential, for example? Until you also get interested enough to dive into the rabbit hole, then will you be able to be persistent enough, of course, which comes in the next chapter, to put the dots together to create that tangible thing that actually maybe may be matching your imagination. So for example, the how airplanes were being invented. The what's the inventor's name? Wright brothers. They got
Mm.
inspired by a flight bird. But then it's like something clicked in them, and that's where they actually wanted to find out how to create something that is possible for humans to fly as well. But of course, it will take some time, and without that enthusiasm to really find out how to make it work, right, I don't think they will actually succeed also. So imagination to me is also a very subjective thing. You thought you were imaginative, but sometimes it's just pretty normal
Mm.
until you, I guess, you hone it and you cultivate it in a way where it comes out as an expression, or maybe in a way that can be done a little bit differently, but only if you know what has been done before and what hasn't been done before.
Mm.
Mm. So in his chapter, right, there is two forms of imagination: synthetic and creative. So synthetic imagination is, he wrote that through this faculty, one can arrange old concepts, ideas, or plans into new combinations. This faculty creates nothing. It merely works with the material experience, education, and observation with which it is fed. It is the faculty used most by the inventor, with the exception of the genius who draws upon the creative imagination when unable to solve a problem through synthetic imagination. So what it means, like if you are going through a synthetic imaginative process, you are actually rearranging the order of things that has been done before and maybe just having a different process but the same outcome. Creative imagination is the finite. Human
Infinite.
mind has direct communication with infinite intelligence, which means that you are able to come up with something that has never been done before, and you are actually able to find ways and solutions through hunches, inspirations that are received from the infinite intelligence that creative imagination can take place from the start into a output. And it is the conscious mind stimulated through the emotion of a strong desire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very easy to understand a concept, but not easy to actually put it in execution.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay. Okay, what I understood from this is there are two forms of imagination. Both are imagination. How I actually treat this imagination, or how I actually understand it, I'll come from a perspective that imagination allows us to actually problem solve. Because we're talking about values, right? We're talking about creation to actually monetize the values that we are putting forward. The values could be in the form of services or products. So when he talks about two forms of imagination, synthetic and also creative, right? He actually explained that synthetic imagination is based on what we already know, what we have actually learned from any settings or environment. It could be the structured learning, structured education, what we have actually learned from books and that we just piece them together, right? We just piece them together. We just say, oh, this is logical, and now we'll piece them together. But creative imagination is that when you actually internalize something, you internalize the idea, you internalize what you know about the plans, combination, the old concepts, and all that. Now, moving forward, as you want to problem solve this and you want to bring greater values to what you actually offer, what is it that in you, through your hunches and inspiration, you could actually make beautify it and make it so unique and so different? For example, you can see things from a different angle, from a different approach. Like as you imagine it, you put colors into it, you bring in fantasies, you bring in something that you resonate with the group of people that you are going to serve. Some people like artists, or some people in their engineering field, in their law field, in their accountancy field, in their design field, they have this flair that they're actually able to connect with this group of people. All right, and this flair allows for the hunches and the inspiration to come about that is already an infinite intelligence on its own. So when that is being communicated and you put together in combination to come up with this problem solving through your imagination, that in itself is creative imagination. All right, and to do
Yes,
this,
I guess the start of realizing how creative imagination can be cultivated, right, would be extra effective if, let's say, for example, the education and organizations that delivers education can emphasize that this kind of structured knowledge that is gained from them is just the beginning. You do not just stop there.
yeah, that's why I really admire Napoleon Hill, where he actually addressed the solution to this. He addressed it in the previous chapter. He talks about one part of it. He actually talks about how to actually acquire knowledge. Okay, and he actually highlight and put this in capital. It pays to know how to purchase knowledge. It means how to go for the knowledge that you intended for, in addition to the structured educational system that you come from. Means that you go through colleges, you go through universities, even if you don't go through the knowledges and all, the this structured learning and all. What is it that is in you that you can go and acquire this knowledge so that you can put it into action, where it's a plan and a structure that supports your creative imagination, and it works both ways. Because sometimes when we purchase this knowledge or this specialized knowledge, you realize that you become more creative because you have expand the scope of your problem solving. Yeah, like
That
for
is
example,
when you curate your own learning journey by choice.
I think it depends on what angle you want to put your creative imagination. For me, how I actually understand it is that if I have this writer's block or anything, I'll go and do arts. Okay, I will go and do dot to dots, I'll go and do coloring and rest. Sometimes it will spark a certain type of imagination where the links and the inspiration and the sixth sense comes in a manner that, hey, I can actually problem solve from this angle. This is where creative imagination can come into play, I feel.
Mm. I mean, he did mention that it is like a muscle that can be trained.
Yep.
When you keep using it, when you keep practicing it or putting it into practice,
Mm,
instead of coming up with reasons that you're not creative, you can't do it, you can't do it. Of course, you're going to fulfill your own prophecies. But if let's say
mm,
you are determined, you embrace it, and then you keep trying, keep exposing yourself, at least starting from the foundational ways of um, how a certain technique can be done, and then do it from like the basic level into the intermediate level to the maybe a specialized level, then
mm,
I guess it gets easier and easier because you will have, you know, practice it a lot of times and you get a hang of it.
mm. Understand.
Mm.
Totally agree. Yeah. So he actually says that riches, when they come in huge quantities, are never the result of hard work. Riches come, if they come at all, in response to definite demands based upon the application of definite principles and not by chance or luck. Because success requires no apologies, failure permits no alibis. Now, the thing is that to know how to combine uh, the synthetic and the creative imagination and putting a structure and plan into how you want to monetize the values that you provide is what requires from the application of definite principles. It means that what is it that you believe and what is it that is uniquely yours that you can actually produce and the habit that you bring in to actually realize that. And you can actually choose to do it with your mastermind experts, your group, or your masterminds alliances. Means people that you work with or your team. Yeah. So that's what I understand for this chapter. Do you have anything to add on for this chapter?
Mm, no, I think, wait. Oh, okay. I highlighted this part. Creators of ideas make their own price, and if they are smart, get it. So a lot of people always will try to reference from other people's ideas, but I think that not many people will be able to get the value that they think they are worth, because without a specific skill set, for example, or without an applied specialized knowledge in the order of things, um it will still be different, even though it's basically the same idea.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
And he mentioned that there is no standard price on ideas. So if you have an idea and you are able to deliver it in a way that is uniquely uh, attractive and the market demands it, you can put any price you want on it.
mm,
So I also find it funny because he's also criticizing people who are lazy minded, and instead of, you know, doing the work, like for him, he actually put in 25 years of determined effort to be devoted to the opportunity became before it became an asset. For me, I actually devoted about 16 years of my creative work before I finally realized that some resources are, you know, worth more than what it is at surface value. And then when I meet people who says that, you know, that they want this without actually wanting to put in the whole, I wanted to laugh in their face. It's like, are you kidding me? And then I mean it's okay to want that lah, but in it always turn out that they don't have a specialized skill set to make it happen. I don't even know what to say to them after that. I just
I
feel like
think
telling them, can you please just uh go and reflect and do something about it and go and sleep and continue dreaming.
that's where the writer Napoleon Hill hit the bull's eye very aptly, where he says that you really need to know what is it that you are working towards. You really need to have clarity on your goals and what is it that you're working towards, and the value that is tagged to it. What is it that you really, really desire to achieve? And when you have that, you must understand that you can't do it on your own. You can do it with your mastermind alliances. No one person can actually do it on their own. They will need to do it together with their mastermind team or their mastermind alliances. Reason being is that not only we talk about specialized knowledge, not only we talk about imagination, we or creative imagination, we want to be able to differentiate ourselves between those who come from synthetic knowledge and those who comes from synthetic imagination. Okay, you want to be able to have the specialized knowledge. You want to have the creative imagination that differentiates um, you from others, and that can be done once you have that with clarity, and your team and the alliances that you actually work with or partner with have the clarity as well. And as you define the goal that you want to achieve together, it becomes something very niche. It becomes something very specific. And on top of that, you will layer upon the habit to allow you to plow through and to put through and to also understand what is it that you are actually delivering and to withstand the challenges that comes ahead. Because the thing is that sometimes as we grow bigger, the challenges is not just internal, the challenges is really the external part. Now, when he wrote this book, he drew a lot of references from the Great Depression. During the Great Depression time, there are a lot of things are out of the businesses or out of the businessmen or out of the specialists uh, how to say control, but what they can do is to respond to it, and the responding to it is the combination of all this and how much they're actually clear about the structure and plans that they put in place and how much they actually execute it and do the fine tuning along the way as well. It's the habit that needs to take place, and the right people, the right mastermind that who you actually work with to actually grow together. And who are your alliances that you actually work with? Because this book actually talks a lot on the business strategy, if you are aware. When he talks about imagination, he's not only talking about imagination, he's talking about personal leadership. He's talking about problem solving. He's talking about leadership in the industry itself. The application of it, the mindset that we have, that we need to have. That's the principles, the 13 principles that needs to come in. Because as an independent person, a person with clarity, you need to have certain principles. You need to understand where you're coming from. And these 13 principles is a set of principles of reference for us to actually understand where our alliances, where our team members, the masterminds ones, where do they come from in this category. And then with that, we know where to actually bridge each other. We know where to actually support each other. We know how to actually complement when our projects get bigger, when we want to deliver values that differentiate us from our competitors, for example. But lo and behold, he actually explained that there's no competitors out there, but knowing to actually know how to go out to your niche market, to your unique target audience, which is so aptly, when I read it, I feel so happy. Because someone actually asked me, are you not afraid of having more coaches and trainers in the field? I say, look, There is so many people out there who need trained coaches and trainers, and it is not about competition. It is about what is it that we can actually deliver to help the individual or to support the individual to get them to achieve their goals. All right. And the resonance therein is very unique because the more clarity you have, the more of the ability of you able to draw that kind of client, the kind of individuals will come for your coaching or training. It's not so much about snatching. If it's really snatching, it's just really competition, you'll be coming from space of lack. You realize that you will be very stressed up. And not only that, you will shrink and you will probably self-sabotage. Even if you're able to get another individual who's supposed to be helped by another individual, you do it out of competitiveness and the person comes to you, you will realize that there will be hiccup in the entire journey. The hiccup or the person may not be able to fully embody what is it that you're trying to deliver, or you are not being able to exercise who you authentically is in delivering your values. So it means that there's a shortfall there. So don't be afraid to go out to show up with who you are and what you have, because there will be more people than you think would actually resonate and would need your services or your product. You just need to be so clear and know how to put it out so that people will know how to reach. And this is why
Mm.
when we go to chapter 6, when we talk about organized planning, this is the part where we can actually go out and reach the other person. We actually have this planning of what is it that we need to put in order so that we can actually go out and not only outreach, but actually do the conversion specific. Okay, and you want to do the conversion specific, there is also outlines of which he talks about leadership. Now in chapter 6, right, about organized planning, right, what we can do, this is very personal. I would suggest, all right, that we go through these 11 major factors of leadership. Go read it, all right, read it and understand it from, go back to yourself and reflect how much of it is part of you in terms of what you value, and if you are actually um, expressing that. Okay, there are 11 points of that. All right, the 11 major factors of leadership. Number one is unwavering courage based upon the knowledge of self and one's occupation. It means your specific knowledge in addition to your um, synthetic knowledge. Okay, number two is self control. Do you have self control that allows you to consistently um, carry out what you want to carry out? A keen sense of justice, the fairness and justice. How much are you exercising that? Not only for yourself, but your team members and your followers. Number four, definiteness of decision. How are you in your decision making? All right. Do you procrastinate? Can you make decision and go through the motion? Do you take full responsibility of the decision that you make? Then definiteness of plans. You must know how to plan your work. You must know how to lead them to work with practicality, not guesswork. You cannot guess that much all the time. You'll be wasting time, energy, and resources, right? You want to have a definite plans, then have feedback for you to fine tune the plan, right? The habit of doing more than paid for. You're willing to do more and willing to give more, okay? A pleasing personality. Are you a careless person or are you somebody who calls for respect and walk the talk? All right. Then sympathy and understanding. How much are you resonating with the people who are following you and people that you're working? Are you understanding them? Do you seek to listen and understand, or do you go out and be a machine gun, selling what you're selling all the time? You want to be able to reflect on that. Okay, and then mastery of detail. How detailed you are in the delivery of what you say you deliver, the values, the solution, the product specific, and all that. All right, the mastery of details. Okay, and able to articulate that, of course. Okay, and your willingness to assume full responsibility. Now, responsibility is key here because if you are able to take on the responsibility for the mistakes and the shortcomings of your followers, even for yourself, and you're able to turn that into a feedback that allows you to, do something about it, and make good use of it, then it is something that the competent leaders will be able to give the kind of confidence, give that kind of certainty to the followers to follow. Then the number 11 is the cooperation. Now, successful leaders must understand and apply the principle of cooperative effort and able to induce followers to do the same. It means that, in other words, have a win-win. You must know how to negotiate, you must know how to mediate, you must know how to actually do the offer and also take your you know your part. Okay, request for your part and all that, and make sure it's a win-win. That's cooperative. That's my take on this subcategory for this chapter. Do you have anything you want to add?
Not this part. I mean, I also highlighted 6 points, so I'm just also going through it.
Mm. So on
Yeah.
the flip side, once we have actually contemplated on this, we can also take a step further to check in where we are at by looking at the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. Now, why I actually highlight this is because this leadership is not about a leadership of you in positioning yourself for your followers, but your own leadership, your own clarity as who you are as a leader for your personal leadership. That's very important. Once you recognize the personal leadership, you have the clarity, you understand that, for example, you take ownership of the responsibility and you know how to regulate yourselves to move forward, okay, at a personal level and professional level. That in itself, it's whole new level. A leader is not somebody who knows everything. A leader is somebody who actually understands what is it that needed at their end to be looked at, to be resolved, and go out there and get them to be the best leader that they can be, the best person that they can be in the execution of the role that they are assigned in. That's leadership, especially in the business context. Help another individual to be a leader in the field of their their expertise in what they actually do. Because when you're able to do that, when you're able to train another leader, the ownership towards the position that they held, the ownership towards the responsibility that they held, the mirroring of or modeling of you as a leadership builds the culture and builds the kind of team principles and team dynamics that will follow the leader, thus align the whole team together. So if the leader is not clear or doesn't have the clarity, that's where a lot of things fall because the consistency is not there. Okay, consistency is not there. The role model of excellency, of excellent is not there. So you want to do that. So if you go through the 11 points and you realize that, I want to know more, then go into this part where it talks about the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. And then go through it and ask yourself, any of it that you actually checked? All right, be very honest because once you actually check that, there are a few things you can do. Number one, you can work on it yourself. Number two, you can brainstorm it with your mastermind team or alliances to see where or this area that can be complemented by who in your mastermind team. All right, so they will take the lead and the role of this area of expertise and be the leader, and then you'll be follower. All right.
So what constitutes a failure?
Okay, the what causes the failure is number one, inability to organize details. So if your details is all over the place,
No,
and
what constitutes the person realizing that they are failing?
it's not about failing, it's realizing where they are at. realizing where they're at in the context of
Because if they don't
organization.
recognize that they're not a failure, especially
Uh-huh.
when they have many of these points,
Mm-hmm.
nothing changes. What?
No, that's why I say be very honest. Be very honest with yourself. Because you want to ask yourself, okay, inability to organize details, for example, that's number one. Okay, efficient leadership calls for ability to organize and master details. Then ask yourself, am I a very detailed person? Am I a very organized person where I give instruction, people will actually understand it clearly? Okay, because genuine leaders are never too busy to do anything which may require of them in their capacity as leaders. Do we give excuses? Do we, like, run away from responsibilities? Do we really know in exact what is it to actually say, or what is it to do to manage what's going on in your organization, for example? Okay, so are you flexible enough? Do you have the solutions? Can you think of a solution to the challenges, the problems that you're actually facing? Do you have that? You get what I mean? Okay. So it's like you must be able to reflect and see where you are at in problem solving, in seeing the details of things, in articulating the details needed as an instruction for execution by your followers. Are all these there in you when it comes to your ability to organize details and actually share or express what is it that you needed to express in the context of that business, or what is in discussion? Do you have that? Because somebody who's not clear will not be able to articulate clearly the plan of execution and will not be able to stay consistent in that. When you're not able to do that, you'll be wasting time, you'll be wasting resources, and people will not have the kind of confidence to work with you because they know that you do not know. People want to know someone or want to follow someone who knows the direction of where they're heading to and knows the details at any point in time when they need the details to actually understand how to move forward. Thus, the details. Because you need to be able to dial down to smaller details and communicate that across to help the person to have clarity on what to do, what to expect, how to do it, if there is a need, and what's the direction towards that, what's expected, what's the outcome for it. Once they have clarity on that, it's easier for execution. It's like you're giving instruction to a kid who doesn't know anything. If you don't give clear instruction, the kid will just do it as how he or she understood it. But if you know with clarity the details therein, that with this specific instruction, this specific example, the kid can understand, then you are a better person in terms of giving instruction. And it comes from the organized details and your understanding of the instruction that you're giving, of managing your followers. Okay, so this is what it means. I mean, it really depends on context, but how much you can actually explain, give example, how much you really know about the subject specific to actually execute something. Because a lot of things in life is not just a short term trial or a short term hit and run, especially when it comes to business. It's about what's the plan 3 to 5 years ahead. Now, I do not know where I will be 3 to 5 years ahead, but at least I have a roadmap roughly where I can be. I can fine tune how I can actually reach there, but I need to have with clarity at any point in time as I get feedback on the milestone or the stop that I'm at. What is it that I need to fine tune? What is it that I've actually achieved? What is it that I can leverage on? What is it that I can actually let go so that I can reorganize the resources that I have and move along? Okay, and these are also all the fine details that you want to have so that you know how to actually fine tune your 3 years or 5 years plan along the way, because we want to be realistic. We want to be able to know where we are at any point in time. Even if we do not know for specific in details, we have an idea. That's where in businesses where accounting comes in, costing comes in, projection comes in, business planning comes in. It gives a structure, it gives a plan, it gives an action punchy points, and it also gives us the structure to actually find out where we are at right now upon executing all this, and what is it that our team have in specific in terms of capabilities, in terms of alignment towards achieving the goals, where we are at. Who are the trainings to bring in? Who are the experts that we need to bring in? Who are the people that we can actually, reposition? These are execution of ideas where it comes to details. Okay, you need not know the specific or how to operate the machine in specific. The technicians know better than you, the engineers know better than you, but you must know how to give the kind of instruction that is detailed enough for them to know what to do, so that you can streamline them to an outcome, and it is consistent towards this outcome. When there's changes, that's where the team will be updated. That's where the whole like for example, when just now I mentioned about accounting, they will actually refine the projection, they will refine the details of accounting and all. Okay, and to do this, you must ask yourself, are you willing or unwilling to render humble services? Okay, if you are not willing to render humble service, most likely you will fail as a leader. Okay, and the expectation of pay for what they know instead of what they do with that which they know. So the expectation of pay, if you want to get yourself compensated, that contradicts with the earlier ones, which is to actually be willingness to assume full responsibility and to do more than expected, to give more values, right? That's doomed for failures. So if you have this book, you can go through the other 6 points and ask yourself, because after that, it also went in to actually give an explanation after you have pondered where you're at and all. What are the some fertile fields in which new leadership will be required? Then you ask yourself, in these fertile fields, how are you going to position yourself, and where in these areas or field that you are an expert in, that you have specialized knowledge in. Okay, there are 6 of them. Then we can actually go through that on your own. Be very honest. And when you do that, it brings more clarity to you, especially in your positioning as a leader in the business that you're actually heading. Is especially true for business owner, self-employed, and those who actually want to run a bigger business more than themselves and want to work with others. Okay, the other part, I think I want to let Gerard talk about it. It's about media. Media
Which
through
other
which
part?
the media through which services may be marketed.
Oh, um, how should I start? Okay, so experience has proved that media offer the most direct and effective methods of bringing buyer and seller of personal services together. For me, I actually use the power of communication through media to actually bridge the sales of personal service. So when I saw that new leadership is expected in a few different arenas, I was also quite sure that we are on the right direction, because I highlighted a few that we are already on, which is the education and the media part. And interestingly, I have no idea about what was this going on in this book, because the identification came like 3 years or 2 years before. So and the way he wrote it is like, especially like from the banking sector, new leaders has to be coming up from the banking sector, because people are already tired of, like the public like us, like are tired of the banking people also. So I'm always teasing the banks also anyway. Okay, so now back to media. I want to talk about the okay, so he highlighted employment, advertising, personal letters of application, application through personal acquaintance, and application in person. So for me, I actually will highlight the advertising. I would say marketing in that sense because I'm not a specialist in advertising, but I'm very familiar with marketing. So marketing is crucial because if you don't market whatever you're selling, nobody will know how to buy your solutions, right? So in a way, right, like how are you going to market yourself through the vehicle of a media? Then it also consists of copywriting and the specialist of the expert who knows and understands how to inject sufficient selling qualities to produce replies. Yeah. So when I was reading this, I'm like, yeah. So in a way, right, even though you may think that you are familiar with advertising or marketing or even branding, right, there is actually a full depth of what all these pillars are about. Don't
Mm.
don't delude yourself that they are the same because they are definitely different.
Mm.
And if you have no idea what to do, right, go find some answers so that you find the right expert to help you to gain the money through the good communication and sufficient selling to produce the replies, quote
Mm.
unquote. Personal letters of application. Okay, so in the specific, which I actually mentioned in the previous chapter, right, you are able to package your selling collateral, for example, in the case of a resume or your letters of application, that will stand out. It shows that you have put in effort to actually prepare this collateral, and then enough for the employer or the client who is paying you to engage you to at least gain some attention before they want to go in depth to read what that letter is about or what their resume is about. So it has to be prepared again by his words, an expert of the same quality and appearance as one prepared by, like, if you are going to be preparing yourself, prepare it like how an expert will prepare it. If not, then get an expert to prepare it.
When I read this, right, it's more about, hey, when you want to do something, go out, do your best. Don't do half-heartedly. If you want to do half-heartedly, you want to think again if this is what you want to actually do. If this is what you want to invest your time and energy into doing, because half-hearted um, effort will not bring you satisfaction and will not be able to give you the kind of rapport and confidence you want with yourself to actually bring about the results. You will always have this, whether you realize it or not, this question, what if, at the back of your mind. It's very
Yeah, so
unconscious.
media, so the thing about media, right, in this part, right, it's not so much the hard copy and also not so much as what they call social media. It's like the media on which you deliver and communicate your services. It
Yep.
can be you, actually, you are the media. So
Yep.
that's why external packaging is very important, but of course not in a frivolous manner, but it's more of uh uh of a way to actually help you be unique, to stand up in a way that is enough for you to at least for people to notice you, and it's also a form of self-respect.
Mm.
So don't take it lightly.
Mm.
And then
Next.
media,
Sorry.
even if he also even uh explained that media is actually your connections,
Yep.
because he mentioned something, this header, application through personal acquaintances. When possible, the applicant should endeavor to approach prospective employers through some mutual acquaintance. However, if you're not aware or doing your level best to be the quality delivery of who you can be, your connection will not want to refer new like new opportunities to you
Mm.
either. So
Yeah.
because they also do not want to tarnish their own reputation if
All right.
you didn't prove that you are able and fit for the role, and
Mm.
that's where they will also be stuck in between the like the good friend or the connections that they took years to build just to
Mm.
help you connect. Like
Mm.
I literally actually have come across someone who is in my mind it's like loads of question mark, and she actually have this self entitlement and dropping me in the message saying that she saw that I actually have this client whose company that she wants to apply, and then she's telling me how they should be hiring her because she's interested in this industry. I'm like, look, Josebo, like I am speechless when I saw the message. I
Well,
just don't
you
want
can
to.
actually let her read the next part, which is how to prepare an effective resume, and then upgrade that into a video form or something that is much more relevant to the
I
job.
wasn't the book then. It was some time ago. But I was very surprised coming from someone like that. What, like, is she even aware that she's actually typing it in this manner? Firstly, she's like ordering me to connect her to the company she hopes to work in because she has interest in it, not experience and not expertise.
Uh,
I was like,
um,
and she's not a young person. I'm not saying I have anything against young person, but young people usually will be more naive, right?
yes and no lah. I think it's very individual. I won't categorize whether it's young person or old person. It will be very much the individual themselves and to what context. You'll be surprised there are young people who are very mature in many areas of their life. All right,
Yeah, so
and
that's
there are
why I say young one I can actually
it's very
understand.
individual.
Oh my god! But anyway, like I
That's
just didn't reply.
generalization, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to be generalizing. I'm just saying like if it example because
Well,
she's aware that she has she's familiar in the corporate sector. Okay,
um,
I'm not against young people. I'm just saying she's an old woman who's so old enough to know what's not to be done. Come on.
um,
Nothing
well,
against the age, like, but I'm just saying
to
I'm
me, to
making
me,
short.
it's very individual because coming from a personal development space, we also do not know what the person went through. Thus, their model of the world is such. So, I would choose to respect their model of the world, and then if they are willing, we will offer to them the alternative um, internal representation, and is the alternative ideas or perspective that they can actually have from what they thought it is or it was in the context.
Sorry, I don't intend and I didn't offer, so I just cut her off.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You were at point number 4. You you
Application in
want
person is a big
yeah,
point. So
pick one, yeah.
I mean this one is about employment. So to me it doesn't really resonate as much, but it's more of a like if you already meet some prospective employer face to face, I guess it means that you also can be proactive into connecting and finding out what is it that the employer needs to make yourself useful and valuable so that you get engaged and hired,
Mm,
or leave a good impression enough for the person who you want to be acquainted with to actually
mm,
finally give you what you need from their side.
mm. Okay. Actually, after this, right, very interestingly, Napoleon Hill, after these 5 points raised about media and how to position yourself, like personal brand that you actually elaborated in the context of being a follower and an employee, he actually highlighted the 8 musts for an effective resume. For those who are interested, you can go through that. And then he also talked about how to actually get the exact position you desire through your resume and all that. What kind of a mindset that you need to actually have and prepare the kind of resume that you need, right? Then the other thing that is very interesting here is that he actually mentioned that the new way to market services is that to see jobs as partnership. So, in a nutshell, what is it that you can actually give as a value? Okay, what is the solutioning, or what can you problem solve through the position that you're actually applying? So he actually explained that through QQS, and he call it the QQS rating. Q stands for quality of the service that you're going to provide, the quality of the quantity of service, okay, the habit that you're rendering, how consistent you are in delivering what you say you will say, what you say you do, and then the spirit of service. Okay, when you put all this together, are they in harmony? Are you really in line to be delivering what you say you'll deliver, and you can actually deliver it more than what you say you deliver in the positioning that you're in the position that you're applying, in the partnership that you're getting into with an employer. All right, because the in the end of the day, you realize that the capital value of your service is the public that you serve, is the people who are going to actually receive your services, who are going to receive what the outcome of what you actually do. All right, and then I do encourage us, those who have the book, to actually go read it. And then it will come to the 30 major causes of failure. Now, we won't have to go through all 30 of them during this live session, but what you want to do is that you want to go through it because these are the 13 major principles through which people accumulate fortunes. Okay, and he actually researched and analyzed it during his lifetime as professor and a researcher, and he actually streamlined it down to 30 major causes that contributes to the 13 major principles of failure. So the 13 major principles is what gets you the fortune, but what are the 30 major causes of failure? It is as outlined here. Go read through it and be very honest with yourself. Which of it hits the point that you're actually, uh, as you ponder, you are at that stage. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's just acknowledging where you're at and then what you want to do next. Okay, because in addition to this number 30, he put in one more statement at number 31. Here, name any particular cause of failure from which you have suffered that has not been included in the foregoing list. So the list is exhaustive. Okay, it's not exhaustive. It has addition where you can actually come in to actually reflect on yourself. So this book is actually very good. It not only help you to do good reflection, but it gives you the guidance in a very structured and a very process-driven way that allows you to think step by step, and it allows you to pile on what is it, or meet you where you are at towards developing the kind of mindset, the kind of plans and actions that you can actually take towards your goal. So go read it. All right. And once you go through all that, do a self-analysis questionnaire for personal inventory. All right. Once you do all that, you roughly know where you're at already, but then it's all over the place, right? So he is so detailed, and he actually walked the talk. You have to be very detailed in what is it that you want to do. So he actually include this part called self-analysis questionnaire for personal inventory. So go through that. You'll realize that it will actually gives you an idea towards your reflection earlier on of the points that you actually went through. And then that will actually give you clarity, in very specific clarity, and gives you points and action points towards what you want to do with your plans, the processes that you want to do, and how you want to carry out the actions specific towards achieving your goals. Okay, so I do really encourage those who really serious about getting to fortune, who's really serious to understand where they are at in terms of the business that they're actually pursuing, right? where they're at to find out how to actually move forward, can use this framework. And when you want to work with other people, you can use the same framework so that you have an idea and you can actually do a reference, not so much of a comparison, but do a reference where each of us are at. And then ask yourself, is this people or does these people suits the mastermind team of yours or suit the mastermind alliance team of yours? Where to actually position each individuals, because every individuals have their own unique strength and will have their own blind spots as well. Okay, I won't call it weaknesses. It's just that not their specialization. So how do we work together? How do we move forward? What is it that I can bring to the table? The questionnaires, the what is actually shared in these chapters suffice for you to actually really, really find out more if you want to do the work. If not, find somebody to do it with you. Or else find an accountable coach or find a coach to actually go through that with you, especially if you realize that you have triggers that comes up as you do this. Okay, because he also talks about the programming, the environment that you grew up in, thus you have the kind of belief and the thoughts as well. Yeah. So he actually closed this up with um, a statement. God seems to throw himself on the side of the individual who knows exactly what he wants if he is determined to get just that. So, all I know, the entire chapter or all the chapters that we actually covered, his main delivery is that, hey, look, you must have this mindset. You must know how to actually put into place a structure and plan through the clarity that you find, and you must really want that. And if you really want that, that's where you realize that the whole consciousness or the universe or God Himself, the creator of all, will actually come and support you. Right? So that's my closing for this chapter. And with that, I think we actually covered all three chapters that we say we'll cover today. Any other sharings from your side?
Don't try to tap after money without upgrading your brain or mind first.
So it's about the
Basically, that's
value.
what he highlighted.
It's
Huh?
about the values that you actually provide and how you actually go about putting the structure and system to offer the value across to people that is going to take on your offer. It's more on that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's, it's not
he's
so much
also
about
saying that many people mistake their wants for their just dues. Don't feel entitled. A good attitude. Do more than what you are actually supposed to be paid for in your mind. You thought you're very good, or it may actually not be that good after all. So just keep doing it, keep practicing, level up before you demand. Because I feel like a lot of people who is trying to sell their solutions are promising, oh, you can do this with less. After you learn my thing, you can do it with less. I'm like, seriously. After I got burned once by people who actually charge shit high price who cannot deliver, I'm like, you know what? Screw this. And then when he said this, I was laughing because yeah, literally is that. So I think that also kind of woke me up and allowed me to see that in a very clear way. And then and like if I were to pay for any specific solutions, I am careful and I make sure to do my research.
You know what I used to do last time? When my friend is actually giving the services, right, or goes into new position and they're in the sales position, I will support them. But I will support them in for them to actually be motivated to go through because it's like a success factor. But I only do it for those who are really serious into doing what they're doing because we will never know. So depending on what's your agenda and what's your intention, okay, in doing something, executing something, have that with clarity and do as you say you do. Because the more rapport that you build with yourself, more clarity, the confidence you have to yourself in plowing forward and moving forward with that. And that will also help in you checking in where you're at, especially if you go through this a whole lot of it. Yeah, this book is
Mm.
actually has a lot of depth. It has a lot of angles to which we can actually talk about. It can actually apply to other areas of life, for example relationship and all. It's about grasping the gist of it, because rich, as he defined earlier in the chapter, even in his foreword, rich is not just about money, but for the easier context to actually understand the concepts and all, he actually put the outcome, put the goal as money. And richness is not just about money, it's about what you define success is, and what is it that you're going after in your life. But because if you touch on any other things, there's no quantifier factor that covers everyone, because everybody is very dynamic. But if you talk about money and you talk about business structure and all that, it's easier to actually deliver across. And we already have so many people who are very successful in their career and who are able to do more in their life because they focus on career and business. And grow from there. And it also speaks a lot about a person's personality when it comes to the success and the milestone of a business that the person actually involved himself in. Okay, so with that, I will end my sharing. And Jara, you have anything else to add?
Mm. I think I have done my part of the takeaways for this
Mm,
session today.
mm. So we'll see all of you again in the next Story Diver session in September.
Yes, thank you for joining us. See you next
Thank you.
month.
See you all.
Bye.
Bye. With that, we end our sharing for today. Have a good